Well, there's some rain earlier this week in Southern California, and it was a pretty good storm actually, a couple of days, a lot of wind. Palm leaves in the pools, as we say in Southern California. So, pretty good night to be inside. It's cool outside, and you're also looking at the number 2 team in the country right side of your screen, led by Cami Minor, the setter of the year from last year and the freshman of the year from one season ago. She starts us out. Second meeting between these two teams. Audrey Pack running back set for the Bruins, and the first look by UCLA goes long. Teams met at Maples Pavilion back in early October. First set was epic. UCLA crossed up Stanford a little bit. They did not expect Pack to play the middle as much as she did. Stanford was defending the pins. There's Pack right there on the back set. She set the middle a lot. Stanford found themselves in a deep hole. They came back late in that first set. But UCLA won the first frame 27-25. Second set was different in that Stanford had a big lead and UCLA rallied before the Cardinal won it 25-23. And then Stanford won sets 3 and 4 to close out the match in 4. Pack to Dodson, and that's your defensive player of the week, but it's a bit of a misnomer. She had 30 kills in the 2 games on the road at Washington and at Washington State. Watch her step on this one. Pack with the perfect set here and banks it right between the block before it can form. Minor, quick touch, does the same thing right back to the Bruins with Vicini. McKenna Vicini leads the team in blocks with 117 this year. Not a big score offensively, her best of the year, 9 kills, gets one early. Well, that was a mess from the beginning, wasn't it? Shank on the pass, and then the bump carried into the bottom of the net. Unforced error by Stanford, UCLA 3-2. Iman Njai, 6'2", from Dallas. Has been hot the second half of the season, but she's always been great. Stanford goes to Kip. Campbell Kip leads Stanford in kills, but they have 3 across the front. Kip, Rubin, Vicini. You could put Sam Francis in there. That's why Stanford is so difficult to defend. It's not obvious where they're coming. Some teams have one big hitter. You know, SC's going to go to Fields. But for Stanford, you got 3 or 4 can lead on any night. Rubin and Vicini right there. That was a triple block, and UCLA goes cross court. Sheridan Leverett. And I'll tell you, before the match, I was talking with Stanford head coach Kevin Hambley, and he mentioned Leverett on his own. I said, why is UCLA better this time than the last time you saw him? And he said, Leverett's better. So that was his comment. He's right early. Rubin banks it off the hands. Cross court, and that was a flyer. Grace Olson kind of mishit it. Looked to be a bit of a flat set. Neither team hitting very well so far. UCLA is hitting 0 and Stanford just 200. Expect it to be a little tight early on. It's a big match for both teams for different reasons. On the overpass, and Kendall Kipp's able to put it away. That'll be the easiest kill all night long for Kip. That's the 3rd overpass we've seen between the 2 teams. Olsen went down to a knee, but couldn't scoop it. Alina Ogilvie. NJ out of the back row for UCLA. 5-5. So this match is starting much like the first meeting at Maples Pavilion, with neither team able to gain a big advantage. UCLA in that first set up there, this was about the place they made their move. Baird on serve receive, outside to Rubin, and she just turned the thumb out a little bit and went cross court. Not a dramatic angle, just turning it away from the block. Watch her arm. She turns it out and drops the shoulder. Olsen, and the timing was off. Olsen just flailing at it. And Kendall Kipp goes back to the service line, last year's Pac-12 Player of the Year, and part of the 2019 NCAA Championship team, as well as two-time Pac-12 titleist. Kipp can win her third conference flag tonight, although all they can really do is clinch a share since Oregon and Arizona State are playing. One of those would still be alive mathematically, whoever wins that match. UCLA setter, Audrey Pack. Minor back set. Wasn't pretty. Sammy Francis got just enough of it. Sometimes that's all you have to do is get it across the net. UCLA fails to return the ball. Stanford leads 8-6. Elia Rubin now serving for Stanford. Quick set in the middle for UCLA, and Desiree Becker. Becker already graduated from Northwestern and then transferred to UCLA for a 5th season, and she's had a huge impact. Leads UCLA in his 3rd Pac-12 in blocks. She's over 100 now. 7 serving 8. First set. Minor's got options. Back set. And a little talk there. Desiree Becker looked over her shoulder, barked at the Cardinal. Don't bring that weak stuff in here. Watch 14 go get it. Pikes and turns and sends it right down at the feet of one of the Cardinal. Tied at 5, we're tied at 8. And a shank. And UCLA back in front. And I'll tell you, Stanford doesn't look like the number 2 team. Something about UCLA tends to knock Stanford off its stride a little bit. There's another element to this you have to keep in mind. Stanford may be from the Bay Area, but more than half of their roster is from Southern California. So they're playing in front of friends and family, and that's an ace. Mokiana Tufono. In the Northwest, she did the same thing at the service line against both Washington and Washington State. Moki had 4 aces in each one of those matches. UCLA's already got 2 as a team. Trying to catch the tape again. Ogilvie had to go flat out. Baird cuts it down the lane and wide, and UCLA by 3. Biggest advantage for either side so far. I'm not going to say Stanford's rattled, but they certainly look unsure. They're talking a lot, looking around, glancing over at the bench. 11 serving 8. Moki Hana, she did catch the tape again. She's trying to do it. Kipp out of the back row. Pack came in, just banged it off the shoulder of NJ. Into the game, to the service line is Anna Pringle. I mentioned all their players from Southern California. Anna Pringle from La Jolla down in San Diego, and prep for the Dons at Cathedral Catholic High School. Back, quick set, middle. And is it going to be Desiree Becker's night? Last time against Stanford, Becker had 8 blocks. But she's already got a block tonight and a couple kills. Goes to the bench with a smile. Well earned. So remember last time I gave you the number, UCLA was hitting 0. Now the Bruins are hitting 333. Minor, it was an overpass and Minor went for it. Bruins keep it alive. Minor sets Baird off a block of Dodson. Back set to NJ. And Baird shut her down. It go out? Yes, it went out. Point UCLA. I thought Katie Baird caught the line. But Paula Martin and Donna Hess, the up and the down, they had a better view than me. Minor, back set again on the slide to Vicini. First time either team has run the X. Vicini, a little nuance to the game there. taking some off of it a lot of times on that slide. Bang it right down the line or cross court, back to the middle. Just tipped it into the open space. 10 serving 13 on the side out. And give it right back. Iman Njai. Njai, one of the heroes of the Washington State match. They go back to Kip and KK. Well inside the back line, nobody touched it. It was moving that fast. 11 serving 14. Look how far out Kip was to approach that ball. She was 3 steps out of bounds behind the tower. Katie Barrett at the service line. She's top 3 in kills for this team. What a great get by Minor. Peck. And Leverett got shut down. That's the dig by Minor. It was Kip who got her. Check pass by Leverett, got it right back. Barrett's going to have to bump it right to the tape. And the joust is won by the Bruins. Pack and Dodson right there. They did a good job, not just to hit the ball, but they kind of spun it too. Push it off those hands and it falls. There was nobody there to cover. So much like it was the first time they met, midway through the first set, it's UCLA with the advantage. Kevin Hambley has already won 2 national championships at Stanford. Won them back-to-back in 18 and 19. But that's almost expected if you're there long enough. Remember, it all started with Don Shaw. Remember, Shaw won 4 national championships as the head coach at Stanford. John Dunning came in. He won a couple. It's a long lineage, and they've all been successful. It's part of the school, it's part of the athletic department, it's part of the program, Stanford women's volleyball. But they find themselves down 18-17 on the road in the first. Good serve, too much for Ogilvy. Minor able to keep it alive, and Kip takes it over. Let's see where Pat goes. Back set to Njai. Blocked by Francis. Francis goes the other side, part of a triple block. Kip off the high hands. Dewick in the back row for UCLA. Leverett, who hasn't touched it in this rally. Cross court winner, Katie Baird. Redshirt freshman from Indianapolis, who's top 3 on the team in kills. Gets the point, settles the crowd, and jogs to the bench. Checking, she's going to stay in. It's going to be Francis who goes out. And Anna Pringle comes in to serve. Quick set middle. Just a miss there by Becker, cut it too thin. Pringle was part of last year's Pac-12 title team. Comes from a family of athletes. Her dad was an All-American swimmer in Arkansas. Her sister, soccer player in Penn. 1 for 2 on her service run. And back into the game comes Francis. Francis, another Southern California product. Country Day High School, San Diego. Stanford has 8 Southern California players on its roster. Stanford has way more Southern California players than UCLA. Did not get it. I thought maybe Ruben had pancaked it. Nope, hit the floor. So now it's getting serious as UCLA first 1 to 20. Carly Hendrickson to serve. Right to the back corner. It just wouldn't settle. That ball just stayed flat in the air. Tied at 5, we were tied at 8. We were tied at 17, now we're tied at 20. Back-to-back service errors. Minor's better from the service line. Had a couple of errors tonight. Early on, keeping UCLA in front. Overpass. And a two-hand flush by Leverett. Leverett is third on the team in kills. And over 200 now. She's also third on the team in digs. That should be her easiest point of the night. And again, timeout on the floor, showing you just how important this first set is. Sets the tone for the rest of the night. 22-20, UCLA. UCLA leading number 2 Stanford, 22-20 in the first set at Poly Pavilion in Westwood. If Stanford wins tonight, they clinch at least a share of the Pac-12 championship. That would be a three-peat for the Cardinal. You can see the looks on their faces. It's almost expected now with this group. Some of these date back to the 2019 National Championship team, the second half of the back-to-back. Minor to Kip. Pat. UCLA runs a slide to Dodson for the first time. UCLA features Dodson all over the floor. She's been great all year long, but she is playing at her top level right now. And then the Bruins give it back. Njai hit the bottom of the tape. It's a big moment for the Bruins. They were up 3, needing 2 to close out the first set. Now they give it back to Stanford, and the advantage is only 2. Njai trying to get it back, dug by Ogilvie. Minor back set. Kip's just not getting enough on him right now. Njai off the block, and Baird could cover in the back row. Rubin is blocked, and again it's Baird. Back set. Kendall Kip and KK down the line, and misses. It went wide. I think Kip thought she caught the line. She came out of there with a big smile and then got the bad news. It is set point for the Bruins. Bruin crowd holds up a single finger. They just need 1 point, but they're going to have to wait. Stanford runs the middle to Vicini. Vicini, an NCAA champion, 2-time Pac-12 titleist. Grew up in Tribuco Canyon down in Orange County. Played her high school volleyball at El Toro. Go Chargers. Ogilvie. Still set point for the Bruins. Pack-in ended here. Quick set to Dodson. It was way behind her shoulder. And all she could do is reach back and flail at it. And now it's 23 serving 24. And Alfre Reft is going to get a timeout. Wow, this one slipped out of their hands quickly, but they can still close it out. It's set point. He just wants to calm them down. Maybe they got a little too excited. Again, if you joined us late, first time these two teams met up at Stanford, UCLA won the first set. Bruins 24-23. And she's third in solo blocks. Nobody's going to get to that one. Tufono didn't even move her feet. Just reached out with her fist. 3-1 Stanford. Katie Baird at the line. 3-time All Pac-12 selection. UCLA's serve receive has not been great. Got to dial in the passing a little bit. Njai took something off it on the back row attack. Good decision. They were expecting her to come out it hard. Sheridan Leverett. Leverett catches the net. Leverett had a great match at Washington State. Career high 21 points, 16 kills, and 4 aces. And much like Mokihana Tufono, she had 4 aces in both of the Northwest matches as well. Floater to Olsen. She wanted it right back. Instead, they go to Njai. Could be a joust. Pack. Side set to Dodson. That was creative. I mean, there's some maturity for you. How does number 11, the senior, not take that ball over? I thought she was just going to follow it over. Three serving 4. Dodson's Northwest trip was epic. 30 kills and 11 blocks over the 2 matches. Kept alive by Njai. Pack. UCLA plays on as Becker takes it over. Off the block. Chance for the Bruins here. Olsen into the block of Kip. Dodson on the free ball. Stanford was ready for everything but that. Ready for everything but nothing because it was a giveaway. It happens. They're all getting set for their attack. Minor sets and gets out of the way. Kendall Kip. Kip's got 9 kills already. Early in the second frame. Nobody else more than 2 for Stanford. UCLA's balance is better. Dodson and Njai 5 apiece. Leverett, Becker 2 each. Stanford 6-4. The Cardinal now hitting .355 for the match. Both teams siding out 62% of the time. That tells you how even it's been. Another overpass joust. Minor now has to turn around and bump it. Rubin off the block and down. Rubin's got 10 double-doubles on the year. But she's going to have to pick up the production. She's had 8 total attacks, and that's just her 2nd kill. Six service errors now for Stanford, 4 for the Bruins. Got to be a luxury for Alfie Rep his first year at UCLA, and Alfie has not been with the team consistently all year long. The luxury to have someone like Pack, a veteran, who you just go whisper a couple of words in her ear, and then she goes and executes. Alfie Rep right now, not only the head coach at UCLA, he is the assistant coach on the U.S. women's national team as they prepare for Paris. Karch Karai, the head coach of that team. They qualified with a great run in Poland. Alfie Rep has been putting in ridiculous air miles, going back and forth from Europe to not only the mainland United States, but there was one time he flew back from Europe, met UCLA in Hawaii. They played at the Stan Sheriff Center twice. When that was over, he got back on the plane and flew to Poland. I didn't know you could get to Poland from Hawaii. So that guy's a frequent flyer. And yet somehow he's kept it all down. During his first season as a collegiate head coach, Alfie was an assistant at San Diego last year. San Diego reached its first Final Four in forever. And you know who San Diego beat in the quarterfinals to get to the Final Four? Stanford at Maples. And Alfie was on the bench. Minor. Another chance for Minor. And that one counted. Cami Minor, who's from down here. Redondo Union kid, one of the oldest high schools in Southern California. She was the freshman of the year in 2021, the setter of the year in 2022. And right now, she's simply the best setter in this conference. Back set to Anjai, not much on it. Back set by Minor to Kip. Again. Anjai. And Baird's there to put it away. Katie Baird's one of those players that probably doesn't get enough pub because of Kip and Ruben, and Cheney, Minor. Katie Baird, I mentioned already, top 3 in kills. And has been a fixture in the Stanford lineup now since 2019 when she was a freshman on the NCAA title team. And right on cue, she converts. Up to a setter to identify who's got the hot hand, but that time she went to Baird, who was against a double block. Katie Baird made it count. She got great athleticism. Both of her parents were collegiate athletes, baseball and basketball. Her sister Cassie, volleyball in Denver, now plays pro in Switzerland. And her brother Dusty is a pitcher on the baseball team at Brown. Doesn't anybody stay home? Stanford is hitting .429 tonight. It follows what they've been doing all year long. They lead the country in hitting percentage at .313. They also lead the country in assists and kills per set. And when I talked with Kevin Hambley, their head coach, before the match, I said, what does the .313 number say to you? Why is that important? And he says it means we're balanced, that we're playing ball control offense, and we're passing well. And Stanford's doing all 3 of those things in this set exceptionally well. Goes out. Sheridan Leverett gets credit for it off the block. UCLA had to stop the hemorrhaging. The timeout did that. Eight serving 16. Iman Njai back at the service line. UCLA's best pin hitter. Dewick handled it overhand. Leverett. And a good job by UCLA to keep it alive, and then they hit it long. So first it was Tufono, and then it was Pack. And then it was just too much. Katie Baird to serve for Stanford, even though Kip has 10 kills and is hitting .588. I would argue that Baird has been the most important Cardinal tonight because she's done so many things, including a service ace. So Baird now, 4 kills on 7 swings, hitting .429 with an ace, 2 digs, and a block. Leverett, blocked by Kip. Kept alive. Dewitt can take it over. That's 4 hits. Good work by Paula Martin in the tower. Was right on it. I had not seen the double hit at the net, but there was no argument from the Bruin bench. Baird on her way to another big night. Our best match probably came at Louisville. Cross-court winner by Ruben on the overpass. Louisville was ranked number 2 when Stanford beat them. And Baird had a huge night. 23 kills on 61 total attacks. 61 swings. Were they mad at her? She hit .560. Leverett into a triple block. That was impenetrable, and it was Ruben again. Watch the left side of your screen, 13. She'll let you know. Hitters love those. 21-8. UCLA really trying to change it up now as Kate Lane comes into the game. Baird. Njai out of the back row, Ogilvy, Cheney, and then Rubin. Minor quick set, Cheney. (22-8), and now you start to understand why this is the number 2 team in the country. You know about Kip coming in, so you try to defend her, and then Rubin gets a hot hand. And then Vicini comes out of nowhere. And I've been raving about Baird all night long. Welcome to the match, Kate Lane. Don't feel bad. They've been doing it to everybody. That is an impressive wall. And they're loving it right now. They want another one. Rubin, Kip, and Vicini shoulder to shoulder at the net. Baird at the service line. Back. Dodson on the slide. Ogilvy after it was blocked at the net. Rubin into the block. There's your answer. Dodson not only with some of the best numbers for UCLA, she also has the best enthusiasm. Dodson for the match, 5 kills on 10 swings, hitting 200, but a couple of blocks now. And she's trying to pick up UCLA. Kat Lutz, the lefty to serve. Minor, middle, Vicini, and you see she didn't have to hit it hard. She kept her head up, went to the open space. It is set point for Stanford, and then some. 24 serving 9. Njai, back row. Ogilvy kept it up. Rubin. Minor. Minor again to Kip. Back set Dodson. That was a big slide. It was almost like a drag route by a tight end. She was at the net, had to run backwards and around her setter, and was still well off the net when she hit it.
We do have a challenge on in the last play. Challenge called by Coach of Stanford.
You got a challenge?
Challenge by Stanford on the last play is a net false.
Let's see if we can pick up what happens here. So Kip off the block. Yeah, you see Kip there waving at, I think she's waving at the tower right there. Kip is yelling about something. That's the only thing I can see. And then all the Stanford players with their palms up. But did Kip wave at the tower in the middle of that point? After she hit, she was trying to get the attention of the up official, Paula Martin. UCLA touched the net? No? Oh, somebody on the way down. Yeah, she's saying they hit the bottom of the net. So they're going to see the same angle that you just saw, and that net twitched, and Kip was on it. So watch, it's Olsen right here. She's clean here, then coming down, left hand, either she or Dodson, somebody hit it with their left hand. Donna Hess now across the way, looking. And Hess actually has a couple different angles that we don't have. That one's definitive, not who did it, but what happened. And it's irrelevant who did it. Can't touch the net. Ever. Remember, the Stanford obviously was picked to win this conference. As you watch it one more time, see if it's Olsen coming out left hand. I can't tell from there. You saw Kip right away. UCLA was picked 5th. It's funny, I like to go back at the end of seasons and see how close the preseason poll was. This one is almost dead on, with the exception of Arizona State, who was picked 8th and is sitting 2nd, and has the only victory in conference against Stanford. Arizona State with a first-year head coach who was selling insurance when he got the phone call to come coach volleyball. The hours are probably better in insurance, and probably the money too. But you got to follow your passion. Last year, Stanford went 27-5, 19-1 in conference, and then lost to number 3 USD in the regionals at Maples Pavilion. It is the only time Kevin Hambly, the Stanford head coach, has lost an NCAA match in his home arena. 15-1. Wow. So they looked at it for a long time and made no change. So I don't know the minutia of the rule, but perhaps since it had no effect and it wasn't an advantage, it was inadvertent, they let it stand. It's probably not going to make any difference. And that's in, as Dodson gets the ace. You'd be hard-pressed to think that UCLA is going to rally from 14 points down in a set against number 2. All Stanford needs is one UCLA miscue to close it out. Rubin and Dodson able to get in front of it. Stanford runs the middle to Sammy Francis, and she closes it out, 25-11. And that is just Sammy being Sammy. It is 1 set apiece, and the best of 5 is now a best of 3. Stanford with a bit of a swagger back in their stride. The number 2 team in the country looking for a Pac-12 three-peat. Anna Dodson, as you can see, does the same thing when she goes to the service line. She pauses at the line with her back to the net, takes a minute, and then proceeds and serves. I keep forgetting to ask her why she does that or what she says. Maybe it's not my business. It's just the way she does it. Dodson, the current Pac-12 Defensive Player of the Week. Remarkable matches back-to-back in Pullman and Seattle. Pack. You know, that middle was working with Desiree Becker early in the match, and then their timing got up a little bit. They went away from it. Let's see if they try to restart that fire. It's just so quick for the block. Rubin leaving just a little bit. By the time she gets back to the shoulder of Francis, it's too late. Falls through. 4 serving 5. Minor. Again to Francis. And Francis gets blocked, and so maybe we have our answer already. Yes, UCLA wants to stay around a little bit tonight and play. Much better than we saw in the second set. Looking like the first set. Hitting over 100 now, 115. UCLA's balance has been great tonight. Packed with the service error. So that's 7 service errors for Stanford, 5 now for UCLA. UCLA has more service errors than service aces. Pack had to run for it, and Jai. Minor's going to go cross court to Baird, who gets blocked. Desiree Becker. Desiree Becker has to track this ball all the way across court, yet not get caught upstream. She didn't leave the middle. She just shortened it. 6-6. Thank you very much. 7-6 UCLA, their first lead of the third. Take it back, I think they won the first point of the set. Again, Ogilvy has trouble with serve receive and back-to-back spades. And this is where Bruin fans start to think it's possible. They can take down number 2. Back in 2019, Stanford was ranked 2nd in the country, came into Pauley Pavilion, and the Bruins boat raced them in 3. Minor goes over early the first time, and then Baird with the flush for the point. So could history repeat itself? A lot of the players on the court on both sides of the net were here that night. Njai, double block, Baird got the better of it. Minor, back set to Kip. Kip able to beat the block from the back row. Kendall Kip goes 6-5 in her 5th season out of Newport Beach, where she played prep volleyball for the Sea Queens of Corona Del Mar High School. Baird, fingertip blocked by UCLA. Leverett, that was dug by Anna Pringle. Kip again, and that's in. Kip's got 13 kills. She's hitting over 600. Fine, we'll talk about her. How can you not? I believe Kendall's season high is only 21. I say only because she's piling them up pretty fast right now. You would have thought she would have had one really big non-conference match. She'd have been in the mid-20s, but she's got 12 right now. Kendall Kip, 12 kills, 20 total attacks, but she's pitching a perfect game in that she has no hitting errors. 600 to go with 4 blocks and a dig. Sydney Breon came in to serve for UCLA. Just a cameo here. And Becker's going out as well. Good answer there by Leverett. You could feel a little something building for Stanford. They were trying to get traction, and Leverett cuffs this one down the line. Leverett now with 5 kills, but also has 5 errors, so hitting nothing. Leverett, that was against a triple block. So she took a little something off. A ribbon roll shot to the middle. Leverett covers. Back set to Njai, and here comes Ogilvy. Kip looking for number 13. Check it. I think the official scoring's one behind. I think that was 14 for her now. Well, you don't need the numbers or me to tell you she's awesome. Yeah, 14 kills officially, 0 hitting errors. She's 14 for 22 with no hitting errors. 636. 636. And we might have another challenge. Let's see if we can pick anything up here. Ogilvy got to it clean, no problem. Back set. Kip. It hit the antenna on the way back. That's the way I saw it. Off the block. Maybe they thought that Kip's initial shot hit the pin. That's the only thing I saw. I don't even know what else to venture, but they fooled me on the last one. All right, here's Kip. It doesn't hit the pin, then it hits the pin. And then it goes out. So I don't know what the challenge would be about unless they're just making sure that the ball hit the pin post block. But it should only take you one or two looks at it, if that's what they're looking at. It's a UCLA challenge. UCLA, their best current run of the season. They beat Arizona here a couple weeks ago in a sweep. And then they beat Washington State in Pullman. And both of those teams beat UCLA the first time around. I was talking to both coaches about why they're better now. And to his credit, Alfie Rev said there's no secret. It's the same stuff we've been doing all season long. We're just doing it better, more consistent, at a higher level. And then I looked at him and I said, please don't use the word process. And we both kind of laughed at it. He said, no, it's fundamental volleyball and we know what they can do, and now we're all doing it. And remember that UCLA has had the challenge of their head coach coming and going with the U.S. national team, and Alfie Rev, and you can read all this in volleyballmag.com, had an article on this, how when he was offered the job here by Martin Jarman, the athletic director, he was very honest with him and said, listen, my priority right now, because I've already committed, is with the U.S. Olympic team, but this is a dream job for me, and I'm going to do everything I can. So he's been going crazy flying back and forth. I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you even stay awake for enough hours trying to coach two different teams at the same time and keep everybody happy. And he missed a bunch of matches during Olympic qualifying for the national team. He was just gone. He was in Europe. And it's funny, if you look back, the team didn't seem to play better or worse in his absence, which means he not only had the great support staff with his assistants, Jen Malcolm and Amir Lugo Rodriguez, as the call is reversed now. And Kevin Hamley just walks away. I don't know. He looks as confused as me. Whatever. 11-all. So we're tied a set apiece. We're tied in the third, and now UCLA leads 12-11 on the ace by Sheridan Leverett, the sophomore from Hampton, Georgia. Last year she only appeared in 7 matches and only made 1 start. And now she's third on the team in both kills and digs. That's out. Leverett goes to the bench. One number 9 sits down. Another goes to the service line. Oh, Olsen meant it. That's her best swing of the night. There was no doubt in that arm. She knew where she was going. She knew how hard to hit it. Again, the Bruins by 1. Tight set. Kip did her best. Rubin off the block, covered by Ogilvy. Rubin again, bangs it, I believe, off of Becker's shoulder. And it carries out. In fact, Becker didn't even know where it went. She spun around and looked up into the lights trying to find it. 13-13. Back set to Njai. Deflection at the net. Kip right into the block of Olsen. And Olsen has made her presence known midway through the third set. First, the dominant offensive swing, and now slamming the door defensively with the block. For as bad as UCLA looked in the second set, they looked that much better in the third. Both teams have been up and down tonight. Dewick's going to have to set Olsen. Tight. Becker. And how about this? At the break, UCLA leading number 2 Stanford, 15-13, with a set apiece on the board. And now start to creep in, don't they? Could it happen again? Could the history of 2019 repeat itself? Here's your RPI, which is essentially strength of schedule, and Stanford sitting at number 2. UCLA is at 42, but that's going to get better. They're going to be in the high 30s when they go to bed tonight, having just played the number 2 team in the country. They want all their numbers to improve, but they really want that headline. This is their chance to get it. One set apiece and only down 1. Baird off the block. Now they're down 2. Loving Baird's game tonight. 8 kills, 15 swings, got 3 digs, a block, and an ace. Full buffet. Silly goes back set. Off the Stanford block. UCLA's not intimidated. They don't care about the ranking. I think beating Stanford in the first set at Maples showed them that they can play with Stanford. UCLA out of system there. Stanford serving 2018. Baird in the back row. Kip in the front. Okeana Tufono. Overhand dig. UCLA unable to bring it back. 21-18. Stanford needs 4 points for the second set. Second winning set. Stanford a more modest 333 hitting percentage now. UCLA a more acceptable 167. Njai. And easy put away for Dodson. For Dodson, that's 7 kills, second best on the ledger. And she's sitting just above 150. Dodson's been quiet for a time. Sheridan Leverett. Rubin gets turned back. Was it Pack? I told you before, she's a big setter, 5'11". Finds a way, finds a knack to get blocks. Solo one-on-one, in your face. You know, she had 6 blocks at Utah and 5 blocks at Colorado. That's the setter. Doing everything that Alfie Rep has asked. 3,000 inside. Edwin W. Poly Pavilion. I've been coming to this building since I was young as some of those kids out there. Good for them coming out. Kids getting all excited. Here with their parents. Some neighbor kids, club volleyball teams. Not a bad seat in Poly. Beautiful building. Designed as a practice facility by John Wooden, by the way. Dodson couldn't do much with it. Rubin Into that double block again. Keeps it out of the tower. Free ball for the Bruins. Olsen. UCLA is not going to go easily into that good night. We passed quietly a long time ago. Leverett puts them back in their seats. It's 10 service errors for the Bruins tonight. Put Stanford back in front and back on the service line. 22 serving 21. Half the sets between Stanford and UCLA this year have been decided by 2 points as Pack gets us even again. First kill of the night for Pack. She hit it on the way down. Great decision. Kendall Kipp misses, and UCLA leads 23-22. So the Bruins with a mini run here, 2-0, to go from 1 down to 1 up. And here this is Dodson's thing. Takes the breath, maybe just to settle and center. Excellent work by our guys in San Francisco to pick that up for me. Thank you. Rubin. They left the line open, and Rubin saw it on her way to the net. 23-all. We went 25-23 in the first. The first 2 sets when they met last month at Maples were also decided by 2. Njai got stuffed by Rubin. And the Stanford fans behind their bench are jumping up and down. This is a restaurant quality stuff. She slides over and redirects all that power. And it ends just like that. And I look over and Kevin Hambley ended up with a ball in his hands and just flicked it to the ball girl and said, let's go, and grabbed the clipboard and marched to the opposite end. They mean business. (25-23) UCLA in the first, 25-11 Stanford in the second, 25-23 Stanford in the third. With the exception of UCLA in the second, the teams have shown up throughout the night. Stanford just a little bit better at the finish. 25-23 in the third. Stanford has beaten 9 teams in the top 25 this year, including number 2 Louisville in 5 in the Bluegrass State. That was a big one. Only a single loss in conference, that to Arizona State. So obviously they're going to the postseason. That's been decided a long time ago, the high RPI. Now they're just ripe fruit for teams like UCLA that are trying to impress people. A win tonight for Kevin Hambley and Stanford, and they win the conference for the 3rd consecutive year. Remember, back in 18 and 19, Hambley and the Cardinal go back-to-back national championships, and they are plenty good to win it again. Oregon beat Arizona State. Those 2 teams were tied for second when the evening began. Oregon beat them 3-1, so Oregon is now alone in second at 13-4, and statistics preclude Stanford from an outright clinch. They'll need 1 more box checked. So here we go. I asked at the beginning of the 3rd set, would UCLA show up? They sure did. After the no-show in the second, they were all about it in that 3rd set. But Stanford now is starting count down points to end the match, to clinch the league title, a share, and to start thinking about SC. They're at SC Sunday at noon. Stanford's beaten SC 12 times in a row. SC hasn't beaten Stanford in women's volleyball since 2015. 2-0 Stanford quickly to start the fourth. UCLA will be home against California for Senior Day on Sunday. And now it's 3-0 Stanford just like that. The air's gone out of the building. Cami Minor, who grew up in Southern California, and she was a big name before she was born. I'm talking about her last name. Her dad, of course, followed basketball. Harold Minor, All-American basketball player at SC. Sports Illustrated Player of the Year in '91. Former classmate of mine. Not sure how it made it about me, but I did. UCLA finally gets on the board. Piccini misses wide. So 3-0 quick start by Stanford. Looked like they were going to cruise. UCLA gets 2 in a row. Minor had to retreat, and they got into the net. I think a double hit. It's a double hit. Same result, point for UCLA. So each team now with a 3-0 run to begin the fourth frame. Baird. Mokiana Tufono with a good dig for UCLA in the back corner. Minor. Duick able to extend the point for now. Didn't last long. Piccini. Terminator for Stanford. 4-3. Piccini now 7 kills. Here's that balance of Stanford. It has emerged in big numbers later in the match. Kip, 15 kills. Rubin, 9. Baird, 8. Piccini, 7. Duick's going to set Leverett, and it just rolls between hands and finds space. And Pack, the setter, comes over to Duick, who was the interim setter on that play. Pack's just got the right temperament for this group. She's been around long enough to know the strengths and weaknesses, the timing, and now working with first-year coach Alfie Rep, a guy who's lived most of his life in a volleyball gym. They speak the same language. Ace. Second ace of the match for Leverett to go with 8 kills. She's got 3 digs and a block. Starting to put together a pretty impressive line. Ogilvie seems concerned with 3 or 4 different areas right there. I don't think this is gamesmanship. This is safety first. All good now. Sheridan Leverett stays at the service line. UCLA 5-4. Piccini. That's her 8th. just the way you practice it. She could have gone either side. Pack goes to Dodson, who got blocked. Dodson trying to keep it alive, but had such a tough angle. It had to go over. Olsen pulls it wide. There's Olsen. Back to Njai. Rubin and Doug in the back row. Excellent play by Kat Lutz. Ogilvy right there. Slides to one knee. Rubin again. And Duick's going to keep it alive. Dodson shovels it over. And Sammy Francis puts it away. 8-5 Stanford. Timeout UCLA. Obviously a critical point in the match. Alfie Rep doesn't want this one to get away from him. Wants to stay within striking distance. Stanford needs just 17 points for a three-peat in the Pac-12. UCLA trying to extend the match. Stanford leading the country in hitting percentage. 313 for the year, 323 for the night. UCLA hitting 172. Balance on both sides. Let's look at UCLA. Dodson and Njai and Leverett, 8 apiece. Stanford, Kip's got 15. She's hitting a less remarkable 406. Rubin with 9. Cheney and Baird with 8 each. Njai hit that one into the net. It's a 5-0 scoring run by Stanford. Oh, tried to drop one in. I don't know, at that point you got UCLA on the ropes. You want to keep that ball in play. She knows it. That's my bad. That's what she said. Tried to get a little cheeky. Who doesn't? Dodson to serve. Oh, Dodson with the dig. Into the scores table goes Pack. And everybody's happy that Pack came out of there clean. She let up on her last step. And she was chasing this one to the wall. And you got, ooh, foot just found some space underneath the scores table. Oh, that just shudder to think what might have happened. Sammy Francis, so let's not. And Stanford up 11-6. Olsen. Is it long? It's out. 12-6 Stanford. And this is starting to look like that second set when Stanford seized control at the midway point and ran away with it. Kip got on top of it. Gives it back to the Bruins. 7 serving 12. Alfie Rep is trying to slow things down, not let Stanford get that rolling rhythm. Audrey Pack now, the multi-talented UCLA setter. Story of resurgence and perseverance. Nice play by Becker. Blocked and then bumped. And UCLA's back within 4. You got to give UCLA credit. They have knocked Stanford out of its game multiple times tonight. I'm sure this is a tape that'll be studied by coaches as you go into the NCAA tournament. What was it that UCLA was doing that was frustrating Stanford? With the exception of that second set, and I understand it's a big exception, UCLA's played them even. Olsen, and it was touched. UCLA down 3. Stanford has fallen into a bit of a rut trying to run that middle with Francis, and she's not terminating the point, but rather just tipping it across. And Kevin Hambley comes out and talks to her and says, don't be afraid to swing. I want you to put that ball away. Find the floor. Kevin Hambley now in his 7th year. 164 wins. He's got 342 wins in his college coaching career. Number 2 Stanford being tested at Pauley. The last time they came here as a number 2 team, 2019, UCLA beat them in 3 straight. That obviously didn't happen, but the Bruins are right in this, and they're creeping back. Down 3 now, here in the 4th set. Kip gets blocked. It's Olsen and Becker. Rubin misses, that's out. That's a 5-0 UCLA run. Back set to Njai, and it's in. And UCLA caught him at 12. This is UCLA's best run of the entire match. And they have Stanford out of system here. He's not playing well. He's scrambling. Rubin tips it. Oh, what a heads-up play. Nobody for Stanford had any idea that side of the court had opened up except for Rubin. Watch her recognize it right here. She sees that wall in front of her, and nobody's home on the other side. Remember earlier I told you about how Rubin had slid to the middle, but not too far. Well, UCLA went too far that time. All the blockers were clustered on one side. 13-13, back and forth we go. If Stanford gets to 25, leading by 2, the match is over. Leading by 2, the match is over. UCLA will go to a 5th. Mokihana Tufono. Always good from the service line. Has 4 aces for the 3rd match in a row. Baird, winner. 14-13 Stanford. Pringle to serve. Back set. Njai. Kip to Baird at the net. Bangs it off the UCLA block. Njai again. That's blocked and is out. And we're tied again at 14. They are neck and neck down the stretch. Back set slide, Vicini. They don't use it often, but it's effective. Good angle, great timing. And all that work, Stanford only up by 1. And now it's tied again. So it's punch and counter punch. One of these teams 10 points away. Actually, both are. So you're watching the number 2 team in the country against an unranked team, and they look the same right now. They've looked the same for most of the night. Off the hands. (16-15). Baird has been playing angry all night. It's almost like she's annoyed with this. UCLA will keep it alive. Got a free ball. Rubin. Rubin's having a great match. She's got a dozen. Hitting 250. Timeout UCLA. 17-15 Stanford. Cardinal 8 points away from a three-peat. How good is this resume? So Kevin Hambley comes to the Farm in 2017. They win the conference, go to the NCAA semifinals. Come back in 18, they win the conference and win the national championship. And by the way, he won his first 32 home matches. 2019, they come back and repeat both conference and national championship. Guy knows how to coach. They're a favorite to go back to the Final Four. Right now, they're trying to get out of here in 4. UCLA's not making it easy. Baird to serve. Njai off the block and out. 16, serving 17. Middle again to Vicini, but this time not on the slide. Just her garden variety middle set. She gets to the ball so quickly, you see even the players in the back row are late to react. Ogilvy up 2, floater. Pack went, but this time Stanford was ready. Rubin pushes it down the line. 19-16. Separation for the first time by Stanford. Dodson turned back. Olsen turned back. Njai off the block and out. 3 tries for the Bruins. Njai's got 14 kills. Dodson, Leverett, 8 apiece for UCLA. Stanford's got 4 players with double-digit kills. We're still in the 4th set. Olsen. And Olsen's got 7. Back set to Njai. How did Rubin stay in the air that long? Looks like she swung at it twice and was still able to tip it down. Pretty amazing athlete. I assumed she was coming back to earth. She stayed up there and got a big piece of it. Oh, free ball, and Ogilvy did everything to keep it off the floor. Rubin again. Rubin's the most lethal weapon for Stanford right now. Again, effort by Ogilvy. And then here's Rubin, the double block, but she had space. And out the right hand of Desiree Becker. And then a service error by Kip. That hurts. Or helps, depending on who you're rooting for. It's 19 serving 21. Back row attack, Kip. She owed him one, didn't she? Stanford's 3 away. Good dig by Duick. And Njai just cups it across. Boy, that is corner to corner. Sammy Francis from the front right to the back left. Stanford's 2 away. Rubin to serve. And she lets out a yell. Aggravation. Big changes for UCLA. Mokiana Tufono comes in to serve. 4 aces already tonight. Excellent place for a 5th. Back row attack kept alive. Back set to Njai, who got blocked and out. Bruins back within 2. The whole theme of this match coming in for UCLA was they were playing their best volleyball. They probably should be a ranked team. They should be in the NCAA tournament. But they need a big win. They need something to impress the committee. I'm impressed tonight, regardless of what happens from here out. 23-21. Stanford has secured at least 23 points in every set tonight. And yet the match is still in doubt. It's been that close. UCLA down 2. Tufono to serve. Great effort by Minor to Baird. And Duick's right there standing on the back line. Leverett couldn't finish it. Kip, block, and covered. Leverett again, cross court. Ogilvy. Baird into the block. Baird off the net. Covered by Francis. And Baird off the block and down. They kept going back to Baird. And finally it paid off. And I think she was gassed because she didn't even celebrate this point. It is match point for Stanford. Off the block. That could have ended it. Minor. UCLA again. Into the double, into the triple, and Sheridan Leverett able to find space. It was that close. Still match point for Stanford. Hendrickson to serve. It can end here. Overpass, and Leverett's there again. And UCLA needs 1 point to pull even. How big is this? Baird, blocked. Baird again, blocked! Tied at 24. Got to win by 2. Baird, dug by Pack. Minor going back to Baird and cross court wide. Another point for UCLA. And they're sitting on set point. They turn match point for Stanford into set point for UCLA. What an incredible run by the Bruins. Baird into the block. Stanford is barely hanging on. It's in. Point for Stanford. Oh, the Bruin fans were celebrating. Substitutions. My goodness, UCLA was almost out of this match, kept it alive, won the point. Then UCLA almost had set point. Stanford able to hang on by the width of the ball. 25-25. Leverett, dug by Ogilvy. Minor to Baird. How many times can they go to Baird? Dug. Set point again for the Bruins. And Kip able to wrestle the point away from UCLA. Tied at 24, tied at 25, tied at 26. Back row, and Jai. Down the line by Rubin. And now it's match point number 4 for Stanford. So Stanford is loving that left side, and apparently it doesn't matter who's there. They wore Baird out. Now it's Rubin's turn. Match point. Baird to serve. and leaves it in the net. Leverage to serve. Tied at 24, tied at 25, tied at 26, and now tied at 27. Chance for the Bruins here. Olsen from off the net. Off the block and out. And UCLA set point again. The Bruins believe. Gotta have it. Chance for the Bruins right here. Olsen tips, covered. Ogilvy bumps. Kendall Kipp, not enough. For the set. It's out. We're going 5. Hold on. Hold on. I think Kevin Hambley might challenge this. He is talking with Donna Hess, the down official. Does this ball catch any line? Oh. I still can't tell you. Not going to challenge. Maybe the best set of volleyball UCLA's played this year. And we go 5. Stanford only has themselves to blame. They had that set, they had the match in their pocket, needed 1 point and couldn't find it. All the credit to the gritty little Bruins, who are taking number 2 in the country to a 5th and final set. (29-27) UCLA in the 4th. 5 minutes ago, I didn't think I'd be reading that. Stanford was ready to close it out. They had 4 match points and couldn't get any of them. What did it? How about the UCLA defense? Engine, turning back Baird. Then Olsen off the block to go in front. And then to close it out and take us to the limit. Cheney still says it caught the line, but Hambley thought about it, talked about it. Stanford is still playing to clinch a share of the Pac-12 championship. They had a 3-match advantage coming in. The only team that could deny them an outright championship would be Oregon. We've told you about it a couple of times tonight. The last time Stanford came here as a number 2 team, 2019. UCLA shocked them, beat them in 3. Now we're going 5. The date of that was October 25th, 2019. And history on the verge of repeating itself. Cheney makes sure of that one. Jive off the block, up high into the light, stays on the court. Kipp. That's going to go out. So in the fifth, of course, we only played at 15. Still got to win by 2, but it can go quickly. Got to get out of the gate. Stanford has, UCLA has not so far, but we've seen this pattern. It looks like Dodson should get hit in the head with the ball, and they're just checking underneath her chin. Ow. She's tough. She's going to stay in there. First, she asked him to look at her ear, and sometimes you get hit in the side of the head with a volleyball or somebody else's hand, and you get a little ringing. We'll play on. Stays right in there. Leverett's been real effective in the fourth set at the feet of Tufono. 3-0 Stanford. Down the line, Leverett, well, she got to it, but then it carries on the other side of the net. Waved out. 4-0 Stanford. So did UCLA spend all of its energy to extend it to 5? Burn the timeout here and try to hold on. Remember, only to 15, win by 2. Stanford trying to clinch at least a share of their 3rd straight Pac-12 title. UCLA trying to fight its way into the postseason. It's been like this all night long. Back and forth we go. UCLA came out strong. They won that first set. Stanford reasserted its number 2 national ranking in the second. These are the Pac-12 standings, and these have been updated as Oregon beat Arizona State 3-1 earlier tonight to hold on to second place all by themselves now. And Stanford 15-1, Stanford's only conference loss to Arizona State. It was ranked number 18. They were picked 8th in the conference, the Sun Devils. Biggest surprise on the West Coast. And just like that, it is 5-0 Stanford. Nothing. That ball just fell at the feet of the Bruins. Kemi Minor is getting mail, old school snail mail. She's been at the service line so long. And Jai blocked, turned back, and it's 7-0 Stanford. So way to take the drama out of it, Stanford. This crowd was starting to believe they were going to see something special. They still have, but not what they were hoping for. And that went outside the pin, and it's 8-0. And UCLA is going to call him. No, I thought it was going to be a timeout, but it's a changeover. My bad. I looked over at Alfie Rep to see his reaction. He walked over and picked up his briefcase. So I assumed he was going deep into it to find a whole nother page. That was quick. Well, regardless, UCLA has given a great account of themselves. And I bet Kevin Hambley is not real happy with the way his team played. They've been inconsistent. At times they have looked fantastic, and at other times looked a little bit disoriented and frankly lost. Overpass. 9-0. UCLA finally able to put a tourniquet on it. 1 serving 9. Dug by Dewick. Leverett off the block. UCLA with a mini run answers the 9-0 Stanford streak with a 2-0 step of their own. Kip. And it's 10-2. That may have gotten Kip to 20 kills. We've been so focused on the match itself, the statistics. It faded into the background. Yeah, 20 kills on 43 total attacks, only 3 hitting errors, 395 for Kip. Njai back row, Ogilvy. Hit that like an outrigger with one leg sticking all the way out to the side, and then Stanford converts it into a point. That just shows you the value of back row players. UCLA is going to call its final timeout. And Stanford closing in on it, up 11-2. They just need 4 more, and they are co-Pac-12 champions for the 3rd season in a row. Stanford looks ready to go back to the hotel. They've been challenged, they've been tested, they've been asked for more all night long, and now they find themselves 4 points away from finally closing out. A dogged UCLA bunch. I had them put away a couple of times tonight. I was wrong. Block and out. You know, regardless of how this ends, I'm telling you, the takeaway is UCLA tonight, not Stanford. Rubin, so smart of Rubin. Cross-court set was carrying her into the block. Says she just used it as a backstop. Just banked it right off the hands and out. Stanford needs 3. Service errors by Stanford tonight. Rubin. Rubin again off the hands. Kept alive by Lutz. Ogilvy, and it's going into the crowd. Well, you can't blame this Westwood audience for thinking there's still a chance, because this thing should have been put away in 4, and UCLA kicked the casket lid open and said, not yet. Chance here again for UCLA. Olsen. I'm telling you, Baird is gassed in the back row. She made a move to her right, and when she tried to come back to the left, the legs just gave out and she went down. If you remember in the 4th set, they went to Baird so many times in a row, even I knew they were going to Baird. And she just couldn't convert, she couldn't get up, she couldn't get over the block. And I believe this might have a little gamesmanship here. They're trying to give Baird a chance to catch her breath. she just didn't look ready. And then to get off the floor, she almost needed help. Now, how can you play volleyball like that? She's been fabulous all night long. Baird's got 12 kills, 30 swings, 7 digs, 2 blocks, and an ace. She's been everywhere for them. She's been their emotional leader. And I'm guessing she's going to dig down and find some more. Kip, 13-6. And Kip's going to go serve. Off the block and out. Francis gets turned back. Rubin tips over the block and down. Match point for Stanford. Two and a half hours of volleyball, and they're 1 away. Dug by Ogilvy. Baird. Oh, it would have been ironic if she won it. It goes out wide on NJ cross court, and Stanford outlasts UCLA in 5, 15-7. But let's start by giving credit where it's due. UCLA was fabulous tonight. This is an unranked team. This is a team that has played a half dozen matches without its coach, who's in his first year. This is a team that is playing with a setter that's been on the roster for 3 years and wasn't supposed to be the starter, but is. This is a team that just saw 16 kills from Menjai, 12 from Leverett, 12 from Olsen, 9 from Dodson. A team that hit 221, and they took the number 2 team in the country right to the edge. For the Stanford Cardinal, they say that great teams win on off nights. I'm going to say this was an off night for Stanford because they're better than this. At times we saw it, but it wasn't consistent. Kendall Kipp, 21 kills. Rubin, 18. Vicini and Baird, 12 apiece. And Stanford leading the country in hitting percentage at .313, hit .340, and they needed all of it to hold off UCLA. Stanford, 23-3, 16-1 in conference at USC Sunday at noon. For our entire Pac-12 network crew, I'm Jim Watson saying, finally, so long from Pauley Pavilion. Stanford wins.